Hey, what's up, you guys? Coach Rye from Team Flex here. We're diving in today to talk about the evolution of the bikini division. And really what we're going to do today is review bikini winners from the very first bikini show leading up to right now current Olympia, you guys. Olympia champions. Where has this division started? What has changed? And where is it going to go in 2022? Which is the question everybody has. And, you know, you really get the best answers kind of reviewing. I'm telling you guys, you're going to learn a lot out of this video. So do me a favor. Remember, this is just one of the shows that I post every week teaching you guys great content, great stuff. Do me a favor, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And then please, anytime, drop in the comments below if you're liking the content, what you guys want to hear, what you want me to do. All right, so we're going to dive right into the Bikini Olympia with our first Bikini Olympia, 2010, Sofia Gonzalez. Okay, you guys, so crazy to look at Sofia, right? Like, you're seeing her images here on the screen, and, you know, obviously great champion, has all of the makings of bikini, but this is so far different from where we're at now in this division, you guys. It's actually insane. You know, posing is one thing to note here. I mean, the poses were very, very different back then. You'll see this back pose. It looks nothing like today's back poses. And as we go through this, you're going to learn a lot about how, you know, the posing has really evolved over time. I mean, you think about these new divisions coming out like wellness and things. It takes time for this criteria to really develop. And you'll see where bikini is now. Took a while to get there, but here's Sofia anyway. And, you know, we're seeing some of the similarities. She's obviously, you know, lifting weights. She has the roundness to her deltoid. She has some arm development in the bicep and the tricep. She's got, you know, lean in the midsection. She's not holding extra body fat. Legs clearly have some development in the quads. You know, her calves, that's not really judged in bikini, but you can tell that means she's putting in some work. Glute development, all of these things. Now, note how different just overall things look, okay? Look at the bikini, for example, right? This bikini is not really blinged out. It's not full of rhinestones. These connectors, I haven't even seen any connectors like this in any recent amount of time. I'm pretty sure you can't even get those now. And, you know, even with the bracelets and the jewelry, everything looks a lot different, you guys. And the division's just totally different. This back cut on this bikini is totally different. Everything here we're seeing, you know, this was the start. This was where it went. And when they made this division, they really wanted it to be, you know, like the bikini body. That's really what it was. You know, you take some women that are in shape off the beach and put them on stage. That was kind of where it began. And, you know, obviously you had to work out, you had to attain this. Still very hard to get even this type of shape and condition going, but it's nowhere near where we're at today. So let's flash forward now to 2011, and we're talking about Nicole Negroni. Okay, Nicole Negroni here, you guys. You'll see right away some similarities to that 2010, but also things are starting to take shape here a little bit more. The poses are a little bit more refined. You know, we were still seeing this this kind of front pose on stage up until a few years ago. It's not really done much now. Should not really be done to this degree on stage at this point. But the back pose, you know, clearly has come a long way here too. We can see compared to 2010 to 2011, these poses were starting to take more shape, okay? And so Nicole here, she has a little bit more of this hourglass shape that we're talking about in the bikini division today. You guys watch my channel, you know I'm talking about that hourglass shape all the time in this division, and that comes, you know, from the development of the shoulders, the tapering in at the waist, you know, the development of the legs and the lower body to get that shape. Now, this is still to a much, much lesser degree, you guys. These first two Olympia champions is what we're looking at. You know, they would be in today's standard on an NPC stage. They might attain this type of physique. A first-time competitor might attain this type of physique to go compete in an NPC show. So it just shows how far things have gone. But now we got a little bit more similarity here to today with the suit and with, you know, these different cuts of the bikini, everything else kind of shaping out more to be. And still, obviously, we're looking at the similarities that you got to be lifting weights, got to attain a good level of conditioning, okay? All right, so let's flash forward now to 2012, where we have Nathalia Mello, okay? Nathalia here, this is where we started to see bikini start to pack on some more muscle, okay? You can tell specifically in her back shot, a lot more development going on in the glutes. This is where we start to see now for the first time this real upper glute roundness kind of tying into what you could call a ham tie. You can tell her quads definitely have a lot more muscle, a lot more development, you know, shoulders even more so at this point. And you are seeing a little bit more muscularity as far as conditioning goes. She's a little bit leaner in the midsection, all these things really tying together as Bikini started to shape out. This is the third year at that point it had been on stage. And again, guys, we're looking at Olympia champions. These are the women that won the Olympia for Bikini. So this is top of the sport, top of the criteria. Still a lot of differences in posing from what we see today. This kind of back pose she's doing where she's got her shoulder blades pinched up, that would not be good on stage at all today. Just the fact that we can even see her back development, that would actually score you down on a bikini competition stage today. So, that's why we're not seeing much of that today, but you can still see how these things evolved. Similar front pose to what we were seeing even up to a few years ago, some competitors doing. Not really a good place on stage at this point for it, you guys, but this is when Bikini started to pack on more muscle, okay? This is when it really started to take that shape. Let's flash up into 2013 Ashley Caldwell, okay? She's a fan favorite by a lot of bikini competitors. She's still competing hard today, still going hard. I mean, she won the Olympia for the first time in 2013, and, this is where, again, we see the muscularity being leveled up. Not so much on the conditioning side. You guys can tell Bikini, the conditioning has always been softer. It's always the softest conditioning as out of all the women's divisions, but the muscularity here, she's really starting to kick that up, and you start to see this hourglass shape kind of transform. And now the posing getting a little bit tweaked, a little bit more mainstream, a little bit more muscular development. This is where the glutes started to really become more important. And you guys, Ashley K, she's still competing today, and you guys know what she looks like. And she also came back 2013. She started 2013, won that Olympia, and moved forward to 2014 right here, which we're looking at now. And this is where Bikini really started to take that drive forward as the criteria was really getting defined. You guys, it takes some amount of years, like I said, to really start to hammer out the criteria, for the judges to see all the competitors on stage, for competitors to start to know what the criteria really is, and for coaches out there coaching for these divisions to start to perfect their coaching programs to attain that look. And you can see even just from, 1 year ago when Ashley K won 2013, she came back 2014 with an improved package, improved physique, which is very important if you want to continue to win. So now you'll see a little bit more in the midsection here. Conditioning's better. She's got a little bit of ab line going on. Her shoulders are more hypertrophied. We're starting to show a lot more of this hourglass shape that we see today. Still good muscle development. This is where we also start to see some of the conditioning come through with the glute ham tie. Okay, you'll start to see that lower bit there. And you guys, there is no glute ham tie muscle. It comes from the conditioning coupled with the muscular development. So that alone really starts to define for you how Bikini started to ramp up around 2014. And Ashley K, she would once again come back 2015 right here, where she would yet again retain that Olympia title. Okay, so that's 3 Olympia wins for Ashley K in a row. 2015 is what we're looking at on stage, and it's really just exemplified her look even more. However, this is when things started to take a turn again, you guys. As the sport develops, as it evolves, what the judges want to see can change year to year, and we're going to talk more about that as we keep going here. I kind of want to review these physiques for you guys and really give you the highlights of what they're looking at. But you'll still see a lot of connectors and different things, even on Ashley K here 2015 that are not so much popular at this point. The cuts of the bikini started to resemble more what we're seeing today, a little bit smaller, a little bit more, to show the glute and things like that. But you can also see here her physique, she brought a little bit different. She didn't really push the muscularity as much. It almost looks like she came in a little bit smaller, and that was ultimately something that would lead to the next year, 2016, Courtney King winning, this Olympia. 2016 Olympia bikini was Courtney King, and this is a big turning point in the sport, you guys. That year was a real specific time for where things started to trend in a much more, here's the example, here's where we're going. The posing here really started to become most accurate as far as the, front pose goes. This is where we really start to see a lot of that hourglass shape, that taper, a lot more width up top, the narrowing at the waist here, the development of the glute that you can see from the front, even in this degree, okay? So this was when the hourglass shape really started to dial in. You start seeing a lot more bling on the bikinis, a little bit narrowing the connectors, all of these things, and, still, there was also not 100% criteria on this posing, you guys, so she chose a very different style back pose for that year 2016, and the judges apparently liked it. You won't see this type of pose on stage today being done pretty much anywhere. I mean, it's not being done NPC IFBB. It's not the criteria any longer, but this this was a pose that suited that at that time. And you can see here still she has that muscle development. It's still not, you know, pushing the conditioning too hard. Then we're going to go here with 2017, Angelica Tashera. Okay, she came in here and really defined the new bikini look. And a lot of people that are competing right now still really like her look. Some think it was the best bikini look that we've had to this day. Okay, and so we see with Angelica here, the most muscle debatably that we had seen yet in bikini division. You know, she's got more development in the quads. She's got that taper at the waist, the more developed glutes than we have seen in any of these competitors thus far. And, you know, that width up top with the shoulders. You know, from the back, you can even see her quads. This is when the muscle really started to kick up in bikini. But notice this, still not ultra super shredded, you guys. I know bikini competitors and coaches and everybody else out there always get so caught up in the shreds and, you know, worrying about that. But if you haven't learned anything yet, just looking at these past champions, the foundation of muscle is what makes the shape of bikini. It's what really propels us forward, okay? So that would be our 2017 Angelica Tashera, and she came back yet again in 2018. Won that title again. Now you see this is when the physique started to change a little bit. She came in a little bit smaller. Her feedback may have been, you know, you were a little too muscular last year, but you know, it also could just have been the sport that year was taking a turn for a little bit more of the smaller look, which is kind of how bikini's trending now. Interestingly enough, you guys, we kind of see every few years that look starts to change and it almost repeats what was going on a couple years back. And then, you know, it gets too far, it gets too muscular, whatever, pulls back a bit. But here still, yet she's got the shape, she's got the muscle, she won that title again, brought it through. Conditioning is not crazy, you guys. However, the conditioning is debatably a little bit harder than what she brought the year prior, and that's probably because she had to lose some size to get in to fit in that top call out, you guys. And so, you know, you'll see how these physiques just change over time. Then we have our 2019 Isapachini. Okay, Isa really started to bring a whole different look to bikini, and it was kind of a crazy flash, you know, to see where she was at. And really, this is where the hourglass shape became the most dominant thing in bikini, and that is still today the case, which we'll talk about with our future champions here in just a minute. But this is where it came. She brought such a crazy hourglass shape that year, you guys. You can see this oblique line, you know, this midsection is very, very small. The shoulders very, very wide. A lot of development here, a lot of development to the quads, a lot of development to the glutes, a lot of development overall. And, you know, hamstrings, everything showing through here. A little bit of that ham tie, the roundness, the overall roundness is something very important. Specifically the upper glute roundness. You'll hear the judges hammering this all the time. And, you know, into the shoulders, everything here. This was the hourglass year, and Isa brought it. Notice, though, once again, not super shredded. You know, this softer level of conditioning, especially from the back. You know, you'd see some of this kind of conditioning across the board in this division, but a lot of competitors do still bring it too lean, too hardcore. And interestingly enough, you guys, Isa's physique this year was very symmetrical. It was very small. She did not come back 2020 to win the title. That would bring us right here to Janet Leigh. Okay, Janet here came and she conquered. She won that Olympia 2020, and she actually had been in the top for a very, very long time, you guys. Even all the way back to when we were talking about Ashley Kay, she was still in the top at the Olympia, competing for years and years, really to refine her physique and dial this in. And this became the look the judges wanted to see. Isa that year, she actually brought it too big. She brought too much muscle, and the judges really focus on the symmetry in the shape here. You can see she has the narrowing at the waist. That creates that hourglass. The development to the lat, which helps that. The roundness of the shoulders and the arms to match. Very important. You know, the glute development is there. The upper glute specifically is there. Hamstrings, quads. I mean, this is when bikini started to push that muscular threshold again in a lot of ways. We start seeing, okay, a little bit of a different physique from Isa. You know, still got the hourglass shape, but literally probably the most muscle you could put on this frame for Janet Leigh at this time. And that's what really brought it through. And it was, you know, more on the legs, more on the glutes, more conditioning even. You guys will see this is probably the most glute ham tie we have seen out of these Olympia competitors that we have reviewed as far as conditioning goes. And that's when, of course, now moving to this year, wellness was coming coming to stage. Wellness was coming to the first Olympia, and we have current 2021 champion Bikini Olympia just a few weeks back, Jen Dory. Okay, and interestingly enough, you guys, this is a flashback now. It's not nearly the muscular development that we were talking about with Janet or even Isa. We have still these markers that are very important. You know, Jen has this roundness to the shoulders. She's got that taper of the waist. She's got the development of the glute. She's got some quads and some hamstrings, but this is not pushing the envelope as far as muscularity goes. You guys, you can tell she's not the most developed competitor we've looked at. It's honestly, probably she's not the most developed competitor over the past few years. I would say that when this is more comparable to almost Courtney King era type physique versus, you know, Angelica or Isa or even Janet. This is where, you know, you start to see the non-extreme element getting pushed, okay? And she still has all the markers, don't get me wrong. She's got the hourglass shape, the roundness to the delts, the development of the glutes, this little bit of the ham tie, all of these things, but it's not to the extreme. And also not as lean as some of the competitors we've seen in this lineup. So it's important to see now, okay, 2021 Jen Dory right here is being made as, you know, an example of what the judges want to see moving forward. And what is this physique really, right? If a lot of people speculate, you know, this has something to do with wellness being added to the stage and how wellness now is where they want to push the muscularity. They want to have all the wellness athletes obviously be more muscular than the bikini. So they're making a delineation. If you guys compared, you know, our wellness Olympia to Jen Dory, it's a big difference. It's a big thing. I actually have a post on my Instagram for that. If you guys don't follow me over there, make sure to do that. It's a big difference. A lot more muscle, a lot more even what appears to be conditioning, but it's really not. It's just the more muscularity. And then, of course, you know, when we move forward, we see the criteria. 2020 is going to follow this trend, okay? I think you guys, bikini, we've talked about. I gave you guys my kind of prediction as far as it would go. I gave you mine for wellness, too. I think that, you know, reviewing what the actual division has looked like as a whole, it's important to take note how every few years, if you really look at it, it starts in one spot. There's a new kind of criteria. It gets pushed a little bit. It gets pushed a little bit. It gets pushed a little bit. Eventually, it gets almost too extreme in some sense, right? And the judges pull that look back, and they don't want to see that look again. Like, for example, 2019, Isa, I gave you guys that example there. She came back 2020 way too big, and they spent, I know, this entire year trying to get ready for the Olympia downsizing. And I'm not talking about big like she had body fat. I'm talking about she was too muscular. So very important that you're always paying attention to what's going on in this sport. And moving into 2022, the season, you know, you want to have the symmetry, you want to have the shape, you want to have the proportion. You're not going to get on stage, you know, without having muscle, okay? A lot of bikini competitors get in their head thinking that everything is about being leaner. Everything's about being leaner. Just do more cardio. Just do the... No. The foundation of the bikini division comes from literally having the muscle development, taking the improvement season, taking the time to grow these muscles, getting yourself into a spot where you have this hourglass shape, right? From the width of the shoulders, the roundness of the delts, to the taper of the lats into the waist, to the development of the glute and the quad and the hamstring and everything that becomes so key and critical that you absolutely must show on stage. If you don't have those, you might as well not compete, okay? If you have not taken the time to improve your physique and build those muscles, you might as well not compete. And I'll tell you what, guys, a lot of times competitors want to push that. They think that, okay, I'll just do more shows, I'll just do more, I'll just keep dieting, I'll do more cardio. You start wasting the muscle away, you start burning the muscle, and the muscle is the foundation of this division. I know all the top judges, you guys, and they would say that 100% muscle is the foundation of everything in the sport of bodybuilding, but for sure as well in bikini. So don't discount the fact that, you know, you don't need this muscle, you don't need this. We're not looking at crazy hard conditioning anyway, you guys. We're looking at competitors that met conditioning requirements. They're not pushing that envelope. Honestly, Jen Dory's conditioning is some of the softest we've seen in Olympia champions in a while, and she still has the muscularity, which is why, you know, she came in. She has a very symmetrical physique, and she's the champion there. Okay, you'll notice if you look at the call out from this Olympia this year, there was a lot of differences in physiques. Isa came back up there, tried to take it back, still couldn't pull it off. You know, it wasn't the right look. The key here in bikini moving forward 2022, you guys, I'm telling you, it's about the foundation of muscle. It's about the symmetry. It's about building that shape and that proportion now, and then being able to maintain that muscle when you diet into a contest prep. Conditioning, I do not think think is going to be an extremely hard thing next year. I think it's going to instead stay on the softer side, but judges will want to see the most symmetrical physique. And if you are out of balance, right, if your lower body is a little bit bigger than your upper because maybe your shoulders are not on par, or you burnt some of them off during prep, or you just don't have that development yet, they're going to probably tell you to go to wellness. They're going to probably push you to wellness. They're going to say you're too heavy in the bottom. You know, you're too bottom heavy at this point. You know, it's more like wellness. Before, you guys, we didn't have that. Judges couldn't say that. They couldn't say go to wellness. They would say, you know, downsize a little bit or bring your shoulder up or this and that. Now, judges are going to clearly try to define a line at every show between bikini and wellness. And depending on what show you do, you guys, I want to say this, it is possible as a beginning competitor, as somebody who has not carved out your physique yet, has not got to an advanced level, to do both of these divisions and kind of test the waters and see what judges think. Hey, you could even place at the same show in both of these depending on who else shows up. But the point is, you know, at the end of the day, you're never going to get to the advanced threshold of these divisions without figuring out what you want to train for, what shape you have to bring, and then bringing that to stage. Getting your feedback is key, guys. Having a good coach is key, and making sure that you're training on the plan. But I'm telling you, the number one thing you want to focus on next year, don't worry about your shreds. You'll get that if you got good coaching, you're doing your prep right. You worry about having the right balance, the right symmetry. If anything, Dory is bringing that to the fullest extent this year as an example to show us what's the most symmetrical physique. The upper body has to match the lower. Anything beyond that is a different division, okay? So that's what you need to bring, all you bikini competitors out there. If you want any additional help with your coaching, anything like that, I offer physique assessments where I can break down your physique and tell you what you need to improve, tell you where you need to go. We offer that on the website, teamfflex.com/physique. Or also, we do obviously offer our free coaching trial. You guys can check that out. We do offer full competitor coaching, and I strongly encourage you to check it out. We're doing different stuff in the game, you guys. If you can find other coaches talking for 22 minutes about Olympia champions, you know, it's not happening a lot, and that's because I'm fully enveloped in this. I want to help you guys be your best, and I'm giving you this content to hopefully do that. All right, so do me a favor and share this out for me. You know, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you've done that at the very least, and comment. Tell me what you think. Who's your favorite Olympia champion out of all of these Olympia champions for bikini? Who's your favorite? Who do you think brought the best look, and are you excited with where this look's heading, or are you getting kind of discouraged because you don't necessarily like the way it's going to be 2022? All right, you guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Coach Rye is out.